Hello, my name is Romkje Fountain and I've been working with Youth with a Mission for over 50 years. And when Steve asked me to talk about women, and particularly about women in leadership, I was very pleased to do so because for many years it has been a great an important thing to me that we promote women in their leadership positions. Give you a little bit of a personal story. My grandmother was one of the very first qualified midwives in the Netherlands. When she applied the first year of the midwifery school in Rotterdam was already full, so she joined the second one. And she came from a village and a province in Holland that was a long ways from Rotterdam, and traveling there was as traveling to New Zealand now. And so in those 2 years she never came back home while she was training. Then on the way back she stopped halfway to Drenthe, and because she had seen that position for a midwife, a Protestant midwife I must say, became available, and she was a midwife there for many years and delivered over 4,000 babies, some of them during the war illegally. My own mother was a teacher, and she was very much involved in promoting the faith of the women in our village. We lived in a very poor village where both my parents were teachers, and my mother always organized every month a particular important issue that she felt the women needed to hear. Also, I've had some sorry, something went wrong there, but never mind. Also, I myself have had some very important examples. One of them, of course, was Corrie ten Boom. When I was a young girl, I worked for her for a few years. And another lady, the name was Major Boshart. She was a major in the Salvation Army here in the Netherlands, and she became the Mother Teresa of the Netherlands. And when you look past my head, you will see on the wall a picture of Catherina von Bora. She was an ex-nun, but she married Martin Luther, and he called her Mr. Kate because she was really the one who helped him very much in his life. I have joined Youth with a Mission in 1972. Our first real involvement my real involvement was in Egypt with the first team that Youth with a Mission sent there. We were 5 girls on that team and 2 men. And then the second big thing, of course, was the Olympics in Munich in 1972. And that really was the beginning of our work here in the Netherlands. What I have so loved about Youth with a Mission was promoting young people. When we started Youth with a Mission, also here in Holland, it wasn't known at all that young people could be involved. You really needed to be a minister or a nurse or a doctor to be involved in missions. But then the brilliant idea of Lauren that young people could be involved, oh, I loved it. And the other thing that so attracted me to Youth with a Mission was that women and men had equal opportunities. So when I, as a young girl, started Youth with a Mission together with some other people and had to go and represent Youth with a Mission at these meetings, they were all men. And here I was, a girl. I wasn't married at the time. And it took a little bit of time for them to take me serious, I think, also because Youth with a Mission was interdenominational, which was another thing, you know. Most of them were very much linked to a particular stream or a church or a brand of Christianity. And we said, no, everybody is welcome. And it wasn't always easy. The only women leaders that were in those days were the song leaders. Oh, horrors, I can't sing at all, so that didn't attract me in the least. But much has changed in these 50 years, also in this country and worldwide. However, I think it's important that we learn to work together, men and women working together. And how wonderful it is that we really promote that in Youth with a Mission, that we are on equal terms, and in some teams men are the leaders and in other teams the women are the leaders, and usually they do really quite well, I think. Another very important thing that I want to talk or I want to address about women in leadership is that you should not come with your preconceived ideas, like you already have a sticker. You know, some women have those kind of ministries, like, I got dark again. But anyway, there are particular ministries good for women, like pastoral ministries or prayer. But what is so important is that you follow your gifting. I am not at all terribly pastoral. I'm certainly not a song leader. But I love figures. I always love to read balance sheets, especially after somebody had explained it to me. So it's important to do what you're good at and not what people expect you to do. And the other recommendation that I have is learn as much as you can while you are in Youth with a Mission. Do courses. Some of them you can do in YWAM, but others go outside and educate yourself in those things. I remember many years ago I did a management course. Fortunately, I didn't pass it because I should have given it more time, but with a young family that wasn't always easy. And I learned some really important things, what a manager should and should not do. I have a very funny example of this because a friend of mine is an extremely good bookkeeper. She is quick, precise, and wonderful. And one time she said to me, you know, people really didn't take me seriously because they thought I should be really the one involved in prayer. But it was such a relief, she said to me, when I discovered that my husband was the one who was to be involved in prayer and that I was to be the one involved in accounting. Another example was of a husband and a wife, and she was really very practical, and he was very nice and kind and not at all practical. But they always expected from them, because they were married, that he would do the practical things and she would be the pastoral, kind, nice, harmony one. And when they discovered that they had different giftings and that in Youth with a Mission it was encouraged to do what you were good at, that was a wonderful liberation for them. It gave them freedom to do what they were good at. And we mustn't forget that women really are half of the church. And I think the church misses out so much when they don't let women do what they are good at. And I think many women, for example, are far better preachers than their husbands ever have been or ever will be. And in the Bible, there are many examples as well of women who are following their calling and who are doing what God called them to do. I have one comma here to say, when you are a young wife, it's not always easy to do what you would like to do because your family takes up a lot of room. But the good thing is that it doesn't last forever, which you don't believe when I tell you this, because it does seem that it lasts forever, but it doesn't. And also for the last, I think it's almost 30 years now, I've been involved in a European network called Women in Leadership. And I've enjoyed that so much because especially in Eastern Europe, women are not encouraged at all to be leaders. we've had conferences in Eastern Europe with the Women in Leadership Network, and we couldn't even start the meetings till one of the men had opened it, because they didn't feel that we as women could really do that. And that has been one of my great passions, to encourage women to aspire to become leaders in their church, in their society, in whatever God has called them to do. And it's wonderful to see actually so many young women involved in our Hope for Europe Women in Leadership Network now, who are really picking this up. And they are grateful that we as older women have encouraged them, because a lot of the encouragement has not come from men. So, dear YWAM leaders, encourage your women to do what they're good at, make them appreciated, because they can do what God calls them to do. But it's important that we do work together. So this is my little bit about women in leadership. As I said, I'm very passionate about it. I love having been involved with the European network, also first at Heidelberg and now in Amsterdam. I like to encourage the young women to do what they're good at, and they are good at a lot of things.